Ladies and gentlemen, we have Esther Konedo here. We have Jean Chukura, Steve Oji, my humble self. I know it's a work day. A lot of people are either on their way home transiting. So I hope they will come in soon to join us in today's wonderful program. But it's one I've personally looked forward to, knowing who we invited to today's events. I'm sure many of you would have read up his profile. He's a father to me, someone I respect so much. Mr. Francis Meribe. He has a very tall profile that I do not know all, and I cannot even explain all, but he spent a lot of years in civil service, federal civil service in Nigeria. At some point, he went into the corporate space and then retired into some other businesses. I know he's a security professional, and at the moment, most interestingly, he's a retiree. He has done his active 35 years and retired into something else, but he's still productive and enjoying himself. So at this time, I want to throw the floor open. I hope that others will join, although most of our members in the HR board, they like to watch a replay of the training, but they'll come on board. So we'll throw the floor open now to Mr. Francis Meribe, who would do a more detailed introduction of himself. And then after his presentation, we'll take on questions and answers. So if at any point you have any question, please drop them in the comment section. We'll pick them up and it will help us with possible solutions that we can apply. All right, thank you very much. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. I don't know if everyone can hear me well. Is my voice loud and clear? Do I need to increase the pitch?
Very loud.
Okay, perfect. I think you've done a good introduction of what I've done so far with my life. Excuse me, like he said, I finished, I worked 21 years plus with the federal government, and then also worked in the corporate space for another 12 years. I have altogether in the security world, 33 years. And I was a sales representative as a young man too, when I started out first in life. So I kind of have seen many different levels and many kinds of experiences which have come to bear in the life that I have as we speak today. Okay, I'm so delighted to be able to make this presentation for Clarion Tech College, for Clarion College of Business Technology. Is Ugochukwu himself is a man that I found to be so focused from childhood. Every time I have known him, from the time I know him, is that this guy is focused. And he had done so much for himself. And I'm so delighted to partner with his organization to make this presentation for all of us today. What we are going to have here is the story of my life. I do not currently say that I have become a super champion in achievements and in wealth and everything, but I have a life that I designed by myself, which I feel at peace and comfort with. I'm comfortable with the life that I'm living. I designed it by myself consciously. And this is what is important in what we are going to go through today. Knowing how to design your life by yourself, regardless of what position you are at, whether you are in business or you are a civil servant or you work in the corporate space. Whatever it is you're doing, life needs to be designed. One of my teachers in personal development taught me a guiding principle, which I have used effectively, and that is that life is a thinking man's game. So you got to think, you have to think about what it is you want to do, where you are going, think it through, not worry it through. In fact, if you don't think, then you're going to start worrying. And one thing people don't know is that there's a difference between worrying and thinking. So, but I came to the point of thinking, and I know what it is. And that is part of the trainings that I provide, how to think. I mean, because many of us worry more than we should be worrying, instead of thinking we are worrying. So, but that is, by the way, as you can see here, one of the things, what is in this place, early retirement planning. This is what is in this place is a montage of the early retirement program that I am pursuing. And I want to do it through the African Town Hall Online television, which I also run and created. Now, this is the plan I made for my life. This is what I want to do in retirement. One of the things you learn today is that it is not about how much you made that you are taking into your retirement that will keep you alive and safe and happy in retirement. It is what you are retiring to. So I retired into the kind of life I want to live, which is this one, to be able to speak to people. As we go forward today, you'll find out a title that I have given myself, which I'm sure when I say it, a lot of people will laugh or smile. But just in case you want to get in touch with us, the website, though it is still under construction as we speak, is www.theafricantownhall.org. And I have an email attached to that, francismeribe@theafricantownhall.org. And I have this number on the screen, +1 801 960 7075 for WhatsApp. In fact, it's the only WhatsApp that I can deal with this number. So the last two pictures, the two pictures you see is what I have designed ahead of time before now to be doing with myself. And of course, our partners today, is Clarion College of Business Technology, Business and Technology. This is their address, their website, clariongr.com. And of course, they are in a strategic place in Lagos, which every one of us can reach if we want to get in touch with them, which is #1 Adebeyemi Street off Allen Avenue. We know that Allen Avenue is where all the shakers and movers in business are. And it is a delight to have him right next to Allen Avenue, because what it means that very soon he will be in one of those high-rise in Allen Avenue, which is the goal. Of course, his number is on the screen there, which we hope you can check. And there's an email, solutions@clariongr.com, which you can use. Okay, so like I mentioned at the beginning, what we're doing today is to present to you my story, a story that had defined the best part of my life as we speak right now, a story that has also influenced many others. I'm surprised at the number of people who read the book you are seeing on the screen, Retire Early to Wealth and Fame. Sometimes I don't hear from them for a long time, and then out of the blue, somebody will just shoot a message and say, hey, I took this from your book. This is what I've done. I just felt that you should know. I mean, nothing brings me more joy in this life than that kind of situation. When somebody says, I read your book, and this is what I took from it. This is what I've done with what I took from your book. That is just the life I want, and I'm living it. All of that came through tearful, hard, and striving and preparing and planning. And just like you may be facing in your own life as we speak, every single thing you face, I face them. But I made a decision 7 years before I left government service. During that period, I just saw that my colleagues, especially these very senior ones, who really maxed out their career years, those 35 years they put in service. Some of them joined when they were just before they turned 20, and then they worked for 35 years, then they retired. And I saw their lives and I told myself, one, I joined this service at an old age. I joined the then Nigerian Security Organization, which became the DSS. I joined it at the age of 27. So I wasn't young like most of them who left secondary school or university at 23, 24, 25, and then joined. I joined at 27. I was already very old. Now, so as I look at these guys, I had to decide to find out what it is I could become and make. You know, if I should spend my life in the service until I am 60 years, which is the Nigerian retirement age. And those are the things I just looked at that and then worked on it. And I actually went to the finance department in the national headquarters of the DSS and asked them, hey, please run my rank to the time that I'm 60. And we did run the rank, granted that I could get promotion every 3 years. To the time I become 60, this is the rank I would be at. And at this rank, this is the money I could be making. And this is what I'll take home. And I looked at them and I said, if I live my life at this point, I will not be happy with God, which will be a big sin. And I don't want to commit that sin. Where instead of being happy and grateful to Heavenly Father for life, because of how my life turned out, then I'm not able to be happy with him. And I don't know how I could have really gone through that. So as I watched these former colleagues, 2 of them are instrumental to the coming of this book. One of them was principally instrumental to my making sure that I have to leave government service when I did. One of them was instrumental to the writing of the book. The first one was a man who served as a state director of the service in 2 states, to my knowledge. And then by the time he served in the same state with me, in Calabar, Cross River State, he was an assistant director of state, not the state director again. You know, things turn, tables turn around and around. It's not because he was bad. In fact, he's among the greatest men that I know when it comes to integrity. He will not take bribe. He will not take dashes. He was just straight. His own is that business. When we joined that service, they say the sky is our what they talk about is sky. We look straight ahead to heaven and we don't think about what happens to this earth. In fact, you would think that some of us don't live in this world because we simply we are not doing anything according as other people were doing it. Then he retired. He could not leave home. He comes from Delta State. He could not go back home. I stayed a very long time in Calabar. So 3 years after he had retired, I saw him one day on the street, walking. It was raining. He folded his trouser. And this is, I mean, a director in their service. First and foremost, even if you didn't go to university and you become a director there, you're already a big deal in every sense of the word. Even if you didn't steal money, you are still a big deal. You can do well for yourself when you get to that status. This man got there, served in 2 states as state director. I was assistant director with us when he retired. He was carrying a very small umbrella, unbefitting of him. Very small umbrella, and it was raining. And his trousers were folded, one leg longer than the other one. And I stood there in the rain. I had no umbrella when I came out of the taxi that dropped me. I had no umbrella on me, but I stood there watching him, stupefied. I mean, sitting as if I'm transfixed, because I said, what on earth for this man whom I know who he is, his expertise, his skill, his goodness, and his power. What is happening? And I watched him. He didn't walk to a car and enter it and go away, which is what I was expecting. And I'm sure if you those who know where I come from will know that we are always playing with cars where I come from. I watched him. He didn't enter any car. He kept walking until I could not see him. and I shed tears while it was rain was falling on me there before I now sequestered myself to a filling station where I waited until the rain abated. Then I took a bike to continue to my house. That worried me. He was the cause for which I went to start shaking. If I became a director in this organization and finished, what am I going to get at the end of the day? And many of you who know me personally know that I did not marry in time. So my children were still very young at that time. And I'm wondering, where will I even get the money to put them through university? Because I'm going to retire before they are into university by the time they are by their age. So that got me thinking, and that got me worried, and that got me moving to find what to do. So when I went home that day, I talked about that with my wife, and we agreed that we will need to leave government service and try other services. Ugo, there are people who are waiting in the room to enter. Could you allow them? Okay, so we made that decision that day, sitting together, discussing about what our future will be like. And I shared the information I got from our finance department, what could become of me when I stay there till I'm 60. So we agreed we need to leave. But the time we made that agreement, my friends who are on this screen watching with me, is my slide still there?
Please share your slide again.
Okay. So by the time okay, I'm resharing the slide, everyone. Hold on a bit, right?
We can see now.
All right, cool. So, yeah, the slide is up. So we made that decision that we need to leave. By that time I made that decision that we need to leave, I did not have a university degree. I only had a diploma as at that time. So part of we made a plan, you know, how I would go to school. As I was busy thinking about a transfer. One of my junior colleagues, in fact, he was serving under me in my section. When I told him that I think I need to leave Calabar, I believe I've stayed very long there, maybe I should leave. He told me, hey, sir, the other day we were talking, you said you wanted to go to university. Calabar is the best place to go to university. So I made a decision to go to university in Calabar there before I left. So, and that was as part of my retirement plan. I went to university, got a degree. And then this book that you see was written principally because I did my thing, left government service in 2005, started another journey of life, which gave me everything I have ever dreamed of. Part of my dream is to work and travel. Any work that doesn't include travel doesn't really impress me very much. So I now got into that. As I left the government service, which doesn't give me other space for traveling. I traveled a few times, but I got to this one that traveling was its new name. Because as area manager, in charge of security in the whole West Africa, I have to be in all those countries. Almost every 2 weeks, I'm on the way, flying, driving, and so on and so forth. It was a huge operation, and that's the kind of thing, and it was something that I did because I said I need to leave service. So I went to university, got a degree, and left. Incidentally, when I was leaving service, the man who was my state director in FCT, which is the last place I served, his first name was Francis, like me. My first name is Francis. We were very close friends. He's senior to me age. He's senior to me age, and of course in rank. He was my director. I was a principal officer under him. But we were very close. So when I wrote my application to retire, I just simply gave it to my wife, applied for annual leave, gave the application to my wife, and then left for my new assignment, my new location. That's what happened. I left for my new location using my leave in service. So this man said he wasn't going to send forward that application because he thought I was making a mistake. And let me tell you, in an ordinary human balance, the way many people think. It was a mistake for many people. But then I'm doing what I have thought deeply about and what I have planned with my wife. That's what I'm doing. So I went ahead. So he said he won't forward it because he thought I was making a mistake, because actually I was next in rank to him. My rank was next to his. And the next batch of directors who will emerge in the service in that year 2005, 2006, and 2007, the next batch of state directors were all my rank mates. That's the next batch of directors. And he knew about that. In fact, the DG then is a man from his place. So he said, no, Francis, I'm sorry, I will not forward the application. You are not retiring. So when I had that, I had to travel back to Abuja then from my new location, and went to him and say, hey, this is conscious. What I'm doing is what I want to do. It's something we planned in the family. And so he said, okay, if I insist, he called his assistant director in charge of administration. The man said, hey, I know Francis for a long time. Francis doesn't do frivolous things. If he says something is something, then it's something. So he should forward the application. So they forwarded my application and my retirement came through. Now, why this boss became important in this story was that in about 2009 or 10, I met this man in Abia State, in Umuahia. I came to the state command to update my documents as a retired staff, because from time to time, you have to update your documents. So I came to update my document and I saw him there. And this is a man who loves to dress corporate all the time. And then he was on casual flip-flop and a kaftan that is even rumpled. I mean, when I say dress corporate, the only way I know Francis, that my namesake, dress is brand new, fresh looking suit all the time. That's what I know him for as an assistant director in the national headquarters I was reporting to before he became my state director in the FCT. And I said, sir, what are you doing here? He said, don't you see this, your brother, he became DG. This is where he threw me to. And he was referring to, well, the DG is not related to me, but it's just that the DG was a man. I worked so long in his state. And they kind of thought that I must be his friend or relation, but I wasn't. Okay, anyway, so he said, oh, this is where he sent me. I said, okay, as what? To be in this place I'm seeing you, are you not the state director here? He said, no. I said, how can you be a state director in a high profile place like Abuja and come to local Umuahia? Sorry, Umuahia is the state capital of my state. Come to local Umuahia, you are what? He said, assistant director. I said, oh no. Sir, you need to leave right now. Retire now. Go do something else better with your life. You still look young. By the way, how many years do you have to retire? He said 2 years. I said, hey, that's fine. Throw in the paper. There's no point. What is those 2 years going to get for you? He said, no, he has not yet reached his retirement, the time he wants to retire. I said, okay, sir, 2 years remaining in this service. Have you raised all your children? Are they all out of university as we speak? He said, no. The one is in the university, 2 is still in the secondary school. That is, what I wanted to do now is what I did. I put my hands on my head, screaming, because I know that that man and his children and family are going to struggle. If he's going to finish 2 years under the condition he has, and then they are still a child in the university and 2 in secondary school. So I felt so guilty that day. As I drove from Umuahia back to Aba, where I was based then, I sorrowed and blamed myself for not telling the man exactly all that I've done that gave me the confidence to do what I did, to leave the service, a glamorous service. And my brothers and sisters here, my friends who are here, that service is glamorous. Even as people are not maybe having all the fun they should have there right now, it's still the most glamorous federal service you can enter into, in my own view. Talking about what you can do that will give you both honor, prestige. I'm not talking about the bribes and all the other things that civil servants get involved in. Anyway, that's what led to the writing of this book. And this book, without light in Aba, I use both candle and rechargeable lamps. And within 6 months, I finished writing it because I was crying every day that I was writing it. Because my intention is that people need to know what I did and what they can do so that their life will be different, so that they are not chained by anything in life. That is the purpose of this book. And I want you to, when you think about this book, think about it in those lines. It is a service of love. So, well, like I mentioned, life is a thinking man's game. I spent time thinking, making a summary of all that story, discussed with my wife. We decided that we need to leave. Then we started planning. Part of it included, of course, going to school as I did. So I took the following actions. I went to school, got a degree, then decided the best route for me that time, because I have not done any business previously, the best route would be mini retirement. So retire from whatever you have at hand right now and get into something else so that you can leverage the experience in the current place where you are. And possibly if you got to 50 years like me before retiring, then I think we are officially, when you're 45, you are entitled to your pension and gratuity in Nigeria. Of course, with the new pension system, maybe that doesn't work again. As soon as you finish working, you get what you need to get. But anyway, I decided on a route of mini retirement. So I started looking for a new job that will put me where I am going. And then I decided that what I wanted to do in my retirement, I will say something about this now and say it again later. The intention of this message, and I want you to know this as a message because very soon you get my new title, and that title will show you that this is a message. The intention of this message is not just to enable you retire with a lot of cash, a lot of assets. They are all part of it. But the main purpose of this project, this message and evangelism is to prepare yourself for what you will do in retirement. What are you retiring to? So you can underline that. What are you retiring to? Don't talk about what you are retiring with. Some of that is a given. You already will know what you are retiring with. You know what your pension will be, what your gratuity is, or in this current consolidated retirement savings account process system, you already know. And before you leave, you know what it is. So that is not even anything, because as you will learn as we go in front forward with this, that money, that your gratuity, that your pension, if you put any pressure on them, everybody will drown. So just leave that pension where it is and start making your plan against what you are retiring into. And I wanted something that if I get into it, it will also be fun and will also produce money. And one of the things, I don't know if there are people, I think many people I'm seeing here are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but if you are not LDS, that this is not against you. This is even a benefit you can come and get. I had a Petrarca blessing as an old man. I was already in my I think maybe 50 something, late 50s, when I got my own Petrarca blessing. Many people get that when they are young. In that Petrarca blessing, a Petrarch who never saw me before, who never knew me before, gave me counsels and pronounced blessings that are still working with me. He said that my blessing in life is to teach. So I think you can find where we are going with that, why this is a message. He said, my calling is to teach, that I should go and study every book, scriptures, everything that I can study. I should study them because the thing I'll do with my life is to give message of hope and direction to people. That's what the counsel the Petrarch gave me. And that part of that is written inside that Petrarch blessing that I collected. So because of that, I started practicing. Immediately I returned from, I made my plan for retirement. I started going about speaking. What we are doing today, I have been doing it for a long time. And I've not become rich by it because I even hardly earn any money out of it, because most of it I do them for free, because I felt that this is a calling I know that many evangelists out there or pastors who preach and make a lot of money out of what they're doing, but I think their own calling is from hunger. My own calling is from God, and he wants me to do something to help people. So that's what's going on. So I started practicing, started then to practice. But anything you do gives you blessings. It is those practices that help me, or most of the books that I've written were from what I'm doing with people. An idea comes and then we advance it and develop it. So these 4 cardinal things is the thought process that passed through my mind and the actions that I took. Immediately, my wife and I decided what to do. Now, one of the questions that people ask a lot is when they should start planning for their retirement. You know, I have come to this understanding that the time to start planning for retirement is even before you start a job or a business. That is the best time. And that is what I intend to do with the rest of my life, creating a consciousness that will make people begin before they ever start to plan for their retirement. Even if you're in business, you will run that business forever. You will run it to a point where either because you become so rich, that's not fun again, you want to do something else. Or you got old like me, then you want to do something else. So my own is as soon as you get into, before you get into paid employment, or even start your business, or immediately you started. Now, here is what is available by companies, both in government and private sector. The only thing they will do for you is when you have 3 years to live, 2 years to live, they hold a retirement planning seminar for you, workshop for you. Do you know what that produces? Fear and anxiety. It makes people so afraid that, oh, so I'm going to retire soon. Then they turn back, they don't have much. Now, if it is Nigerian civil servant, it will be easy. They will plan only one thing, start stealing. That is grievously dangerous for you. As I mentioned this at when I gave a retirement training, that was like maybe 2010 or thereabouts in Ebonyi State, command of my former service. They invited me there, so I went and gave them what I'm giving you here today. And I told them that if you plan your life around the money you will jam one day, you jam money one day, big money, then that I told them it would be like accident. One of their directors, the assistant director there, who was asked to stay with us in that seminar, when he was summarizing, he said, you need to hear what Francis Imerive said. He said, if you jam money, then that money will hit you like a truck. If you are alive, you will be maimed. So, and that's what happens when you jam money. Because this issue of money, you need a mental capacity for the management of money. Otherwise, money will become an albatross for you. It will become a problem. Unless you started developing the skill and mental capacity required to handle big money. If you don't have it and big money comes into your hand, it will destroy you. Of course, I don't need to tell you this. The evidence is everywhere around you. You're going to find it if you look. So, because of that, what I decided to do in my life is to write and teach and speak about early retirement planning. And not just retirement planning. So my own is not retirement planning, it's early retirement planning. That's what I like to do. So begin early. And some people might say, oh, but I'm already getting towards retirement. Well, but I was already 7 years to leave my first job by retirement before I started planning. I didn't even know. You know, it's something that I learned along the way as I was thinking with what to do in my life. And here is my new title. And you can take note of that. Though I don't want it to appear in my correspondence. Don't address me as evangelist, but this is what I want to do. I would like to spend the rest of my days as an early retirement planning evangelist, helping people, organizations, governments take up this important element of our labor welfare laws and life that will help people avoid corruption, live and work with integrity, and find wealth and peace and joy in retirement. And I tell you, it is possible to find wealth and to find peace and joy in retirement without being afraid, looking behind you. You know, there's this, where my wife's place, people from my wife's place, they said a thunder was, it was about to rain and the thunder lightning was going, and one of them said, Kalopusa, Kalopusa, the place, how I got this money, Carlo, come out, Carlo, come out. How I got the money I used in building this house is not very clear. You wouldn't have to deal with that if you plan early for your retirement, because you will plan what you retire into, and life for you will be a continuation of just what you want. I am a money bag. I don't have a lot of money, but I am a man who is so sure of many things. That is what I'm going to do if anything should come before me. That is my life. And that is because of the planning, the thinking and the planning that went into that life. And that's what I want everybody to be prepared for. Okay, now, early retirement planning is a personal responsibility. Retirement planning should start before or as early as someone gets into a paid employment, for those making a career in the paid employment, or one starts a business, before or the time you start a business where you would like to make income. Once you are going to be where you have to make income, you're not going to fold your hand and sit and still be alive and live and have what you want, then you need to plan your retirement. Start from the last target of that employment, the plan. The last target is what you will retire into. Then plan backwards to how you're going to make all the money you need and the resources you have to get into that. If you're able to endure to the last part of this slide today, which will come very soon, I don't think it's a long program slide we have here. You will learn about some specifics. So let's keep going. So I am advocating that all employers of labor, governments and the private sector, and I'm saying, I have the liberty to say this here, and I feel like saying this here because I know that at the end of the day, there's one person in this room who will be where these policies are made. If you are not yet there, you are going to be there by virtue of your career progression. So please listen. I am advocating that all employers of labor, governments and the private sector, of course, our host today is an employer of labor, so you should listen very clearly, should make and implement a policy that ensures that as soon as someone starts work, he or she is put through a 5-day workshop on early retirement planning, which would include savings, investment, health practices, additional education, professional certifications, and skills that are requisite to have income continue flowing during retirement. This one is for everybody and for policymakers. This is what will save countries like Nigeria from corruption. This is what, if people can have a plan that puts in their power where the money they will use to live their life now and the one they will use in retirement. So let's take this serious, but early retirement planning is still a personal responsibility. Now, the current pension design RSAs, that is the retirement savings account system, is not enough. I can tell you that on good authority of personal experience. Now, when I retired from my last job, I went to the bank, to my RSA account holder, keeper, and told them, okay, I know I've been receiving alerts of what is in my account. Please give me a summary. Let me see the interest and everything. This is when we finish our mission, the year we finish our mission, that's 2019. That's when I went to the bank to do this. And they gave me this, and then we worked out a spreadsheet of what I'll get at the end of the day on monthly basis. They gave me a lump sum. We planned a lump sum, which they paid. That was useful. And then they now spread the rest for, they say, well, highest they can hold me for 20 years. And I'm planning to live for more than 20 years after retirement. Look at me. What is going to happen if it goes beyond? And we're going to say something about that as we go. But anyway, but the total amount, and this is a huge one, better than the one that I did in government. The total amount was not up to 1/10 of my monthly salary. If you are still looking for how to manage your monthly salary, what will 1/10 of your monthly salary do except suicide? Tell me. I don't think it will do anything except suicide for you, which is not my wish for you. So it is not enough. Okay. I still maintain that early retirement planning is a personal responsibility. And some of us here are going to live for 20 to 40 years after retirement. I'm planning to live for 40 years again after retirement. I think I've done like 8 years now. I mean, 7 years. I'm 67 now. So I've done like 7 years since that time. But my target is 40. There is no retirement program organized by our employers that would make adequate provision for what we need at retirement if we are opportune to live this long. In fact, if we're going to live for 20 years, before 20 years, your RSA, the monthly stipend they give you is 20 years max. That's the max. That's what they aggregate whatever you have, including interest that it may rear. So you won't say, oh, maybe the interest will accrue from the balances, can keep you going. No, they max it out for that period of time. And that's the announcement they gave me from when I thought that I had several millions from my retirement savings account. They paid me half of it up front, and then I spread the other one. They say to get me maybe 18 to 20 years. And I'm planning to live for 40 years again. So don't you see that? I mean, doing something is critical. So there's need to organize our lives in such a way that we have income flowing throughout our retirement life without us really having to work full time for such income. This is the target. You have to plan to see that you have income coming in your retirement without having to stay on the job for it. The rat race. My take-home pay cannot take me home. I think we have some lecturers here. They cannot take me home. That's what my lecturer told me many years ago, that his take-home pay cannot take him home. So nobody's take-home pay can take them home. And if you decide to resort to corruption to have a lot of money around you, you have destroyed your life, destroyed the life of your posterity. Think about all those who have been stealing all Nigeria's money to this day. As soon as they finish, they become history. Their children will hide. Have you seen any of their children coming forward? Maybe 0.001 of them. I think the only one I have seen whose father was a powerful politician who is still here, who came and became big, is Olubukola Saraki, Dr. Sola Saraki. That's the only person. Bukola Saraki. That's the only person I've seen. Where is Awolowo's children? Where is Zeke's children and grandchildren? I know they may be in different names, but if they are anything, they will be referring to what they are, who they are, and we'll be seeing them. So I don't think they are anything. Okay, so please don't even think about that. It is called setting up the process for passive residual income and multiple sources of income. In America, you have a lot of millionaires and billionaires. One of the secrets to all of that is that each person have money coming to them in, some of them, minimum of 8 sources of income. And you don't have to work on 8 jobs. That would be suicide. You just need to set things in motion through your planning so that you can have income coming from different sources. It can be trickles. It can be something as little as 500 naira. If 1,000 people pay you 500 naira, that has become money already. 500,000 naira, no matter the value of naira right now, is still a lot of money any day, anytime. So let's think in those terms. That is the line of thinking we should use. I mentioned earlier, life is a thinking man's game. So don't forget that. Let's think in those lines. Let's not think in line of they put me in a committee, they brought money for the committee, then you steal the money of the committee, stunt the work of the committee. Of course, those that are supposed to be exposed for the committee will bring bribes and then everything will be forgotten. And then Nigeria will keep deteriorating until very soon nobody will be able to live there. This is the way forward for everyone. Okay, all who are in paid employment should necessarily prepare themselves for life in retirement, which must include becoming an entrepreneur. You cannot save all the money you need in retirement. The way to go is to ensure that you create before retirement where your income in retirement will be coming from. This is almost like repetition, and the reason this is being repeated continuously is because this is need to be emphasized first, then re-emphasized, and then we have to find another way to say the same thing again so that it sticks. Because I know what it took. I know the resistance I gave before I started accepting that I need to do what I did to be where I was able to get to. Now, if you get your gratuity, this is a serious warning. This is don't, if I don't know the age of, I know some people here, they are still young, they still have a lot of years in their side, but I don't know a number of people, so I don't know what your age is. But mark this, everyone, whether you are young or old. If you get your gratuity and pension or retirement benefits and invest such in a business you have not learned well before retirement, the whole money will turn into school fees and you can only get experience. If that's the only income you have, you are in trouble immediately from the first day you return from retirement. My mind just says, say this again. So I got to say it again. And I'm sorry if it's taking a lot of your time. But evangelists need to preach the word that are given to them fully so that God cannot call them for not telling the whole truth. If you get your gratuity and pension or your retirement benefits, and if you invest that kind of money, no matter how much money, even if it is billions, if you invest it in a business you have not learned well, not the business you are not learned well before retirement, the whole retirement money will turn into school fees. My dear friends, what does school fees get us? Knowledge. Has anybody been refunded their school fees after they graduated? Never. I have never had. Now, if your gratuity, which is your last call, goes into buying you experience after 35 years experience or 20 or whatever number of years it took you to retire, that is like walking backwards, my dear brothers, my friends. That's like, sister. I mean, it's like walking backwards. You can't do it to yourself because what it means is that you will be in trouble. Now, here's what has happened to some people when they get into that point. Some people fall sick and die shortly. If they are lucky, can you imagine? It's luck of the lion. If they should just, they throw in the money goes the way it should go, they fall sick, then they die. If they are lucky, the unlucky ones have stayed sick with terminal diseases, stroke, hypertension. They need drugs to support them every day and they don't have the money for it. They end up ruining their whole family, ruining their lives and the life of their family and their peace and happiness. I mean, this is a serious thing. You know, there's a book I'm developing. It's called The Circle of Life. And the center of that book is that the family is the nucleus or the center of the circle of life. So if you do anything by your mistake and you use your family, you've lost everything. Let's be careful here. It is a personal responsibility. If you wait for government to do it, they will offer you RSA, and that's all they could go. They can't go further than that. My recommendation is that people should start the business they would do in retirement many years, even as much as 10 years or more years before, years minimum before retirement. 10 years minimum. If you have that on your side before retirement, start that business today. If you are looking for ideas, people like Gochuku is there. Clarion Tech, that's their business. They help people, they help organizations put their mind and head where they should put them for advancement in their careers. So that's my recommendation for you. Start it now. That way, you have an existing vehicle or terrain you are familiar with where you can invest your retirement benefits. In my own idea is don't touch your retirement benefit for investment, and I do not have need to touch my retirement benefit. The only thing I did with my retirement benefit is because I was relocating to another place. When I collected that lump sum, I used it to buy a house. That's all. Now, it's not even good to buy a house in retirement. That is a risk, big risk, because what is going to leave you is that you will be left with very little cash to give you confidence to take up investments and take up activities that will help you live the life you have planned to live in retirement. So if we can do better than me, that would be the best thing. If I wasn't relocating from the base where I retired from service when we finish our mission, I do not need to spend a dime from my retirement benefit, except as to use it to reinvigorate the business that we were almost starting before we went on mission. And then when we came back on mission, we started piecing it together again. So that is the point. If you now put that money, it is lost. If you don't, you have a chance to reinvigorate a business that is dying. And here's something I would say, this is sort of this thing. I don't know if it is in this script, but one thing that is clear is that if you start a business, and I'm sure that Ugo can share that this witness with us, that business you start will go down first before it gets up. And it is a valley, hill business. When you are in business, that's what it is. And that's where your retirement benefit can support. If you're already doing that business and you need to boost it, you are doing the business and it's sagging, you want to boost it, then that it can come in. But if it is your original capital, if it is your baseline, you will use it for experience. And that is deadly. So if not, the money will be wasted. This has been the source of problems in retirement, leading to people dying in penury and shame. Avoid it. If you hear me today, most evangelists or those who preach, when they preach, they believe, they hope and pray that those they preach to will accept Jesus Christ, you know. If you're a Muslim, that's okay, you understand. I'm trying to use this to analyze something. But they will accept Jesus Christ and then have eternal life. So my preaching here today is that you will accept these principles and have a retirement life, a real life. Okay, and very soon I will be calling all my friends and anybody connected to me about my autobiography that I'm writing. It is called My Life, a Life. So when you know, to avoid living, abandoning the course of life you planned or hoped for. Don't put your retirement as a new investment in a business. You can only use it to boost a business. Okay. All right. If your organization decides to help, see it as help and seize the opportunity and take required action. The only help your organization can give is to provide early retirement planning workshops. You are still responsible to act upon what you must do to have income flowing during retirement. And I'll tell you something that a research I did when I was writing this book. I called up Ugochukwu's father, who is a very close buddy of mine. Because I know he worked in Shell at some point in his life. So I asked him, come, I'm trying to write a paper on retirement. Those who work in the oil company, I'm sure that when they retire, they live in heaven all through. He just says, sir, please stop. I said, excuse me? He said, yeah, stop. I said, what? He said, look, that these people retire with billions. Some of them get billions, especially the big guys. And others get hundreds of millions in retirement. And then exactly 5 years down the line, they are down with stroke, high blood pressure. So And they kept wondering what is going on. It became a concern for Shell. So they launched a research and worked with these people. They discovered that these people knew nothing except bossing around and, engineers, all kinds of course, there are 1,000 types of engineers in the oil industry. Engineers, HR directors and all of that, board of directors and all, contractors, they finish and then they left with huge sums of money, and then they start living on the money. And before you know it, the whole money will become tuition, school fees for returning home. It's gone. Then they start suffering. Oh, how can I be poor again? They start worrying, anxiety, depression, sickness, stroke, hypertension. Those lucky ones among them die. The unlucky ones live, which is what we are trying to avoid. So here is what Shell did for them. They now decided that 5 years to your retirement, Shell will go build you a house. They will ask you, where do you want to live? That's your money, because they know that you are not, the people are not managing the money well. That's your money that you take from it, build you a very nice duplex in a posh place in the city you want to live at. They procure cars, buy equipment for business for them. And yet, the research also showed that many of them are not going very far with all of that. But that only maybe extended the time they got sick a little bit, and they helped some of them to actually break through or run out of the country. That's what most of them do. Immediately they finish, they have a lot of money, they just leave the country. So that you are working in a high-profile organization and that you have so much money in that place you work, or even in your business, is not a guarantee. The guarantee is in the thinking and in the plan, which you must make. Many people have, because one of the things that are required to make a good retirement is savings. And a lot of questions are being asked is, I earn such a meager income, a meager salary or wage, and my petty trading doesn't produce much. How realistic is it that I should be able to save money to use in preparing for my retirement? How can I plan for retirement with this meager salary? Other question is, how can I start a business when I work full-time for my company? What time do I have? And what about my employers being displeased that I am using their time to do my private business? Now, remember I said that business you do in retirement, you should start it before retirement. That means you're going to work, do something else while you're still working for your employer. And that is a real concern. And saving, a critical element in retirement, is also a concern if you work in Nigeria. And I worked in Nigeria, so I know. Well, here is some of the suggestions I have made. The volume of money you make has nothing to do with savings. Let me repeat. The volume of money you make has nothing to do with savings, nothing whatsoever. Because some of those people who retire from Shell get 50 million naira and die 5 years later, sick for the last 2 years. Money was not their problem. It was the idea and the planning and the thinking. That's what was their problem, and the discipline. So savings is a matter of discipline. If you have not heard this before, hear it from me. I learned this from my teachers, my personal development teachers. Savings is a matter of discipline. It's not about money, nothing whatsoever. And in my own life, I tried to save. It was impossible as a civil servant. I mean, I discovered that I opened like 5 different savings accounts because I opened this one, put the money there. Before I could replenish it, I'll go and withdraw the money. I'll be so ashamed of going back there again. I'll leave that, open a new one. I mean, I don't know what was happening, but that was my life. I don't know how it is with you, but I could not save anything. The only time, by the time we had, I saw that children are coming, And I will need money to pay for their tuition at some point when nobody, there may be no salary, or even salary is not enough to pay the tuition. I had to find a way to save. What I did then was to place a bank order on my salary. The bank was UBA. That account is still running today in my name. And what I did was I placed a bank order on my salary. So, and as soon as they get it, they transferred it to a savings account I opened for my 3 children. So they cut it off my salary before I even get there, because I made them put it so early. And I actually told my account officer that I want this to go before I get there. Because if I get there, I might take the whole money. And I'm sure many of us can relate. So that's how I began my own savings. Now I have a few more disciplines on that and can decide, okay, let me put this aside, come rain, come shine. Okay, so to save a little part of your income regularly is a decision you must make. One day I was discussing with my son about 10-10-10-70 system of savings, of how to use your money. 10-10. This is 2 10s, 10-10-70. That is the one that I learned from my personal development teachers. But I was just discussing with my son. I think he was just like about 10 or 11 years at that time or so. And we were talking about this. He said, hey, Dad, how about 10-10-10? That is 3 10s and 70. So that one I used to do was 10-10-80. So save 10% of your income, pay that amount to yourself and put it in a savings account you won't touch for any reason, unless for investment for future, for the rainy day. That time I save for the rainy day. So, and then spend 80, pay 10 to the source of your spiritual power. If you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we will be talking about tithing. Pay your tithe, 10%, pay yourself 10%, but put it away, don't use it. They use the rest of the 80. My son said, why don't we make it 10-10-10? Because we hold counsels with them, with our children when they were quite small. So I think they started understanding many things that early. My son said, hey, how about 10-10-10-70? So 10 to the source of your spiritual power, or tithe for those who go to church. For the Muslim, that can go into Salaka or something. And then 10, you save that and pay to yourself for the rainy day. And my son said, the next 10, you put it and save it for investment purposes. So your rainy day account is different. Your investment account is different. I don't know if you're getting that. So let me know that you're getting that. So 10-10-10-70 system. Then the other 70, spend it. Take care of things that you have to do throughout the month. And however it carries you, let it be. Okay, now business while working full-time. This is a special time in my life. And I have to share this with you, some of my experiences, so that you can get it down. You have 24 hours a day. You currently probably use 12 hours to do your current job. If you work in government, which is 8 hours, commuting back and forth, let's say that is another 1-2 hours. So let's say you put 12 hours there. Out of 24, it means that there are still 12 hours that is remaining. So in those 12 hours that are remaining, you are expected to sleep for your health for 8 hours. And I don't want to debate that. I don't sleep for that long, but it's not good. They are warning me now that I might get dementia in time if I don't sleep very well. So, and it's part of something you need to worry about in retirement, the state of your mental health, your brain, and even your body. So sleep, take that sleep, take the 8 hours for rest and sleep. If you take out 8 hours from 12, there are still 4 hours. Am I right? Yes, I think I'm right. There are still 4 hours. So find what to do with these 4 hours. use it to go and learn a business. When I finished providing this presentation to my former colleagues at the Ebonyi State Command of the DSS in those days, many of them came to me and say, hey, now I know what I've got to do. Many people, these are university graduates, they say they want to go learn a trade. One of them said that she has always wanted to sell motor parts. But this is a master's degree holder, but that she has always wanted to sell motor parts. I say, you don't even mind your garb, wear jeans and t-shirt and go there and learn it. So use 2 hours or 4 hours of the whole of those 4 hours remaining to go and learn a trade, learn a new skill. Digital marketing online today, you can learn so many things online without having to, stress yourself so much. Over time, you become more efficient in handling your hours. And I'll tell you something that happened. This is one of the reasons I'm trying to make this a testimony meeting. I'm not happy about that. But let me make this testimony. Anything that is to the glory of God should be given out every time God's children gather. After all, I style myself as an evangelist, so why don't you evangelize? When I joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints newly, my salary was so bad. The missionaries say, oh, sir, we would like you to pay a tithe of your income. I said, what's that? They taught me. And I said, this money, the money I earn, yeah, it doesn't last more than 1 week. There are 4 weeks in a month. My money finished in 1 week, and you want me to pay tithe? Excuse me. If this church requires that, I think it means I may not be. So, I mean, what I was being sarcastic, but the young man took it so deep and started shedding tears, the missionary. He says, sir, we are 5. My parents have 5 of us. My mother, my father, and 5 of us, we are 7. We live in a flat in Port Harcourt. He came on mission. That time, of course, there was only 1 mission in that place, in those areas, or 2 missions, one in Lagos and one in Port Harcourt. And he came from Port Harcourt. He said, we live in a flat, a 3-bedroom flat, all 7 of us. We don't have a lot of money, but my father pays a tithe of his income. And we enjoy peace and happiness in the house. We manage. It's not that we are not struggling, but we manage. But he said, I promise you, if you pay a tithe of your income, your life will change. I saw my father's life change when we joined the church. He joined the church and took us with him. I stopped. I said, okay, if I start paying these tithes and my life doesn't change, I will leave this church. And if I go to hell after, it will be on your head because you taught me something that didn't work. I think that's the one that made the young man to start shedding tears. And I decided there and then, not tomorrow, that I'll pay a tithe of my income. Here is the kind of blessing I got. I have never received a kobo that I didn't earn from the church or anywhere in the world. I don't take bribe. I don't even take dashes. Here is what happened to me when I started paying my tithe. My head opened, and that is when I remember that I have 24 hours a day. So I'm telling you, you have 24 hours a day. I never always knew that. I didn't always know that. It came as maybe you have the opportunity to hear me now. That's when I came to know that I have 24 hours in a day. So, and I live right next to the office. I live in the police barracks in Onitsha at that time, and my office is in the area commander's office, which is also in Onitsha, on the same ground, on the road divided them, the same premises. I do not need to transport to go to work. So I just walk to my office, walk back to the house. I said, that means I only spend 8 hours there. Most of those 8 hours of sitting doing nothing. All of us know about Federal Civil Service or other services. The DSS is even more active and functional than others. Anyway, then I decided that I need to find work. So in the evenings, I'll move around. I know that Onitsha people, I lived in Onitsha at that time, they have a lot of money, but many didn't go to school, the traders, and they're always doing imports, which means they're always writing. And I have this uncanny skill with writing. This speaking is a new thing. I don't always know how to speak, but writing was my best. So I started going to their companies. I just walk in and say, hey, do you need a clerk? Do you need a secretary, a typist, anything? I can do all those. I can do this. I can do accounts. So I went to like 5 places, when I went to the 7th or 10th one, the man said, "Oh yeah, my secretary just got married and they had left Onitsha. Did you say you can type?" I said, "Of course, yeah." And he took me to his office. Everywhere was looking like his secretary left. I mean, scattered. I took my time, rearranged them, set things in motion, worked there until midnight that day, and then I walked home. The next day, he asked me to come back the next day. So I came back the next day. By the time I came back the next day, from that time for the next 1 year, I didn't have to cook dinner in my house because I will work till it is time to eat night food. His wife will bring food to two of us. We will eat. Then he will still pay me. So my head opened. So I blame, or I am happy with tithing. I think it is tithing that my blessing of tithing was that my head opened and I knew that I have 24 hours. Now your blessing for being in this program today that Ugochukwu has called all of us in is that you know you have 24 hours in case you've not been thinking about it before, and you can do exactly what I did. So we are drawing to a close in this presentation, and I want to invite Human Resources Departments, directors and managers to connect with me to provide for your employees these secrets to high performance and integrity at work, which is early retirement planning. Because if you know where you're going, you won't steal, you won't be a thief, you will not. If those who don't know where they're going that are rogues, like Nigerian politicians. And if you are an organization, you can invite me to, and I would use the vehicle of my company, Town Hall Communication Company Limited, to teach your employees early retirement planning, financial intelligence, entrepreneurship, and investing. These are things that we can easily and readily do. Now, this is what I wanted you to wait for today, and I'm happy that most of those who were here are still here. This is a breakdown of the 6 important considerations that I made, which you can also make for your retirement. Savings. I told you, forget that you don't have money, because savings is done with discipline, not with money. And of course, if you are not disciplined, you can never become a success in this life. I'm sorry to say. All my own losses are the times I have become indisciplined. Anytime I discipline myself, I have always moved forward and achieved. The next one is investment. That business you will do when you retire, start now, not tomorrow. Then the other angle of investment, and this is one of the, Nigeria might be so terrible, but this is one thing that is good in Nigeria. Landed property never cracks. In America, they say blacks never crack. The blacks are stronger than the whites. That's what they mean. So real estate doesn't crack in Nigeria. It doesn't ever go down. So don't even bother. If you are, I'm thinking somebody say there, where have I got the money to buy land in Lagos? That's not possible for many of us. When I went to Lagos to live in 2012, I tried to buy land to build my own house there. I saw that in fact, including my gratuity, cannot buy land in Lagos. I had to go to Ota. That's where I built my house in Lagos. That's where my house is in Lagos, in Ota. So leave the already overdeveloped places, leave them alone. They can only decay until those who are super money, which will be mainly drug dealers, politicians. That's the kind of people that do, maybe few of the serious investors who have invested a lot of money and have a lot, who can build in those places. Go to the fringes of whatever city you are living in and buy your property. That property will only increase. So if you invest in property, and that saved my wife and I, because my children I have retired before they started going to university. I retired in 2016, went on mission that same month. And before then, my son, our first child, had gotten admission to the university. But he departed in August 2016, which means I've retired before he departed on his to go to school. What saved us, to help us to keep the children in school until they started finding their feet, is property. And when I worked, everywhere we lived, Abuja, Aba, Lagos, it is only in Calabar that I didn't own property. of all the places that I lived when I was a civil servant. But Abuja, Aba, Lagos, we bought property there. And of course, our property in Lagos is in Ota. And properties, real estate, we bought for 600,000 per plot in Ota. When we needed them, only a matter of 2 years later, we needed them to pay tuition for our children. 3 years later, because we took over paying tuition for our children as soon as we finished our mission. 3 years later, we were selling those properties for 2.5 million to 3 million. And we just need to sell one of them and we'll pay tuition before the Naira got as crazy as it is right now. The same thing happened with Aba. The ones we have in Aba, when there's need for this thing, we calculate how many of them we will sell that will pay the tuition, we will sell. So investment, especially in real estate, doesn't crack. Try it. Education. Of course, you heard me. I didn't have a university degree when I came out to work. I started out with, in fact, less than a GCE. I had 2 papers in RSA, Royal Society of Arts Examination Council, and Pittman examination. That's all I had when I started out. So, but I went to school while working, got 6 credits as a sitting in GCE. I continued, got a diploma in public administration. I continued, I got a degree in philosophy. So when I took the next job I took after I retired from government service, a degree was required to get that job. And I had one. So if you don't have, get one. If you have a degree already, get an advanced degree. If you already have an advanced degree, go for professional certification in any field of practice you're interested in: security, real estate management, quantity surveying, engineering. There are professional bodies covering every element of, even the teachers. There's the Teachers Council certifications that they give these days. I think that's happening in Nigeria. I know that is common abroad. So get that required education that will help you. So get certification. If you have certification on the field of your practice, it's a validation of your top professionalism. And one of the businesses that Clarion Tech Services and Clarion College of Business and Technology provides is certifications. I think most people who are here already know, as probably you might be members of the HR board, so you know about that. I shouldn't be preaching to the choir, but sometimes they still preach to choir. That's why that expression is there. People still preach to the choir. Get that certification, arm yourself with it, because this could mean, if it's not good, this will mean the difference between you and your next level. Get into membership of professional bodies. I think that's another thing Clarion Tech does too. I would like you to know that this presentation was not prepared for Clarion Tech today. This presentation, I've given it, I gave it in 2019, the first time, online. I advertised it like he did, and then people signed up, and then I gave it for free for them. And then, you know, just to make sure people hear me. So when he called up for this, I said, perfect. So he helps people go through certifications. Don't play with those things. If you need to save money for 1 whole year to get one, do it. Of course, you saw the accolades in my name. I don't know if, okay, my name that is showing here is because I have a missionary, a BYU Pathway missionary Zoom account now. So anytime I click to any Zoom link, whatever meeting I attend all over the world, either Sister Mary appears there. But I want you to know that I live my life attending and giving seminars. Tomorrow, beginning from tomorrow, 9 a.m. Nigerian time, I'm going to give seminars from 2 hours on Friday, 2 hours on Saturday, and 2 hours on Sunday night. This is what's going to happen with me tomorrow. I mean, beginning from tomorrow. So that's what I do. And I make that presentations on this one I'm going to make in security and other things. So, but the whole of the event is left to me to do. And the people are being prepared to get a certification, and I'm going to provide all the training for that. For Friday, Saturday, Sunday, non-stop, 2 hours per day. So the other critical thing you must do is where to live after retirement. Plan it now with your wife. And the men here, please don't be the one deciding where you will live, because if you decide, one day you discover that you will be living alone there. But if you want to stay with your wife, help her make sure she... I have a friend, they moved to Ghana, and for many months they were looking for a place. He asked his wife, sit down, I'll go around. When I go to work, I'll go look. So every time he will go, find a place, come and carry his wife, get there, the wife said no. So when the wife said no to about the 10th one, he became angry. He didn't know what was going on. And then by the time they were arguing about it, somebody called him by the side and said, brother, you want to find a place where your wife will live? Please allow her to find where she will live with her family, which includes you, luckily. That's when they found a place to live in Ghana. So plan where you're going to live in retirement before now. My wife and I planned where we're going to live. The house we built in Lagos was our original target. So we built it as a twin flat. So our children were in one and we were in the other. And then our plan was our children go away, we can rent out the other one and stay in this one and continue our business. Or part of the business my wife planned to run was to run a kindergarten or this child care business. So it could happen from the very next flat. So decide it now. And here is something I did. This is on Igbo. I'm an Igbo man. This is not how Igbo people think. But I want you to consider it. And if it feels good for you, go ahead with it. If it doesn't, you leave it. Don't build your first house in the village. If you have not built it already, don't build it. I'm sorry. I invited people from Obingwa here, my village. They are here. There are some of them in this meeting. Now, maybe they can say, hey, because he has not built a house in the village. Yes, I have not. I'm 67. I have no house in the village. But I have a duplex in Aba. That's where I wanted to retire the first time. Before, when my boss is a few years to leave, finish service, they say you need to go to Lagos. I moved that. Then we say, okay, Lagos is faster than Aba. We decided we live in Lagos. So I built in Lagos. Then when we finish our mission, security had worsened everywhere. My wife is always saying, the East and Lagos will be too dangerous going forward. I think we need to do Abuja. So that's why when I got my retirement savings lump sum, I just bought a house in Abuja with it. Now, so the first house should be a house in the town. Here is a number of reasons why your first house should be the one in the city, or the next house, if you have already built one in the village, the next one should be the one in the city. The reason is that if you should suddenly leave work, you cannot return to the village, because that would be detrimental to your career advancement, unless your village is Lagos, Ikoyi, or your village is Aba, center Aba town, or Enugu, Abuja. Those are your village. If your village is so Bingwa like mine, which is so far away from current development, it's 11 miles from Umuahia, 30 miles from Aba, so it's still far away from all forms of development. If you build a house there and you are not returning there, then it's either your brothers who are not happy with you will live inside it, or cockroaches and rats and lizards. If your brothers and sisters all have their own, they're okay, then that your own will become a ghost house. So the first house should be in the city, especially where you hope to retire. Build that first one there. Your life can change where the next house will be in New York, or London, or Nairobi, or Rwanda, Kigali in Rwanda. You know, those are happening places, right? Or Abuja. But that first place where you thought that's where you retire, you may retire, build your first house there. So that when you retire, two things can happen. You can still live in the city and afford to be there to advance your career and life. Or if you want to sell, that house is valuable. If you want to rent it out, that house is valuable. I don't know if you're getting me here. So this is the point with these ideas. And all of these were not, all of these ones were not given to me by anybody. Only savings was given to me by my trainers, my personal development teachers. But the investment, education, certification, those are things, the routes, things that I thought of. Life is a thinking man's game. And then I did them. Okay, so this is the book we are talking about, Retire Early to Wealth and Fame. It is written as a labor of love. It is written because I met my boss, my namesake, a good friend, a man who respected me. He was senior to me in age, but here is what happened between me and that man. When I was in Cross River State Command of the service, I reported to him on dotted line straight to Abuja on my desk as a principal staff officer. So when I worked in the FCT, I also reported to him. Then I know his house. So we visited each other and we did a lot of things together ourselves. So when I saw him in that condition and then had to write this book, I know it is labor of love. This is the Bible of my early retirement planning evangelism. This is where I'll be preaching from. This is where I have been preaching from. Whatever you have heard is in this book, and then there are more. There are also more strategies and ideas that I need. Now, if you by any means decide to get an ebook edition of this book, because that's what is available now. The first print has finished, and I'm not in Nigeria right now as we speak, and cannot immediately say I can print. So right now, the only thing we are selling is the ebook edition. So if you like to read ebooks, that's what I read. I don't even read physical books again. I read ebooks, set them on audio, and then I listen or read them from my phone or device, other device, tablet, so and laptop. So if you get a copy of that, it will entitle you to 6 months coaching from me, free. So it's as if I'm giving you the book free, because that coaching that I'm going to give you is something that is priced at 50 to 100,000. So, but I'm not talking about that. Remember, I'm an evangelist, and I'm not the type of evangelist in Nigeria who depend on the collections. No, I don't depend on any collection. So, but you need to do something that shows commitment, because if people get everything all free, they don't value it. So pay 1,000 naira for the ebook edition of this book. You can do that with Clientech systems. You already know how to walk through them. Pay 1,000 naira, get a copy of the ebook edition of this book. And then the day you finish reading it, from that day you finish reading it, I ask your first question. I will guide you for free. I'll answer your questions for free. Come on Zoom like this with you to explain more things. Email you, give you additional information that I'm getting, because I'm still researching retirement. I'm still researching, and I'm still attending retirement seminars here in the US. The city I am in is a city that cares for its citizens, the city of Provo. So on their own, they organize retirement seminars. That is what I'm preaching, that you guys who are in charge of organizations in Nigeria, start making that happen in those organizations. So if you do that, you are entitled to 6 months free coaching from me. From the day you ask your first question to the next 6 months, anything you want to ask, all questions answered, all guidance, and I won't look back, and I won't ask you for a dime. But we just want you to commit yourself to want to use the materials in this book, the information in it, and the ideas, and the more that I will give in those coaching. Ugochukwu will give you more details on how to go about this. Of course, I know that most people here are all connected to him. Thank you very much for being here. If you have questions, I will be glad to take them.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful evening. A lot of eye-opening. I'm sure people in the meeting are feeling the same way I'm feeling. And so I know you personally, and all what you've said are true. You know, organizing this knowledge, being disciplined enough to apply them step by step. I know we've been blessed strictly. Okay, so I think there is a question in the chat box.
Okay.
Let me get there. Okay, so this is from Bright. He says, listening to you every day keeps me on night candle, thinking critically what to do differently now for a better and early retirement with health, wealth, and fame. My concern now is my current job is highly secured, pays well, but does not give me personal satisfaction. I don't see myself working hard to earn the money. I want something more, something highly challenging, involves critical thinking and invention of new ideas, including traveling across the globe. Please ignite me if I am right, or address if if I'm wrong, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bright. I think the question you asked is very important because this is about life. It's about life. Now, I wouldn't want you to copy what I did in my life when I was younger, but it was pragmatic. They are all part of why I am here today. That point is, I do not spend 1 hour on any situation I am not happy with. I mean, 1 hour, I don't. In one particular year, I worked in 4 different places. Can you imagine a human being like that? You've never seen anything yet. You can learn more about this in my book, Growing from Your Experiences. I grew very much more powerful, bigger, and better because of all the experiences I had with life. One of them included working in terrible jobs that I didn't find fun working in, and then I did not waste time in getting away. But when you talk in Nigeria, a secure job is a big deal. And I don't want to joke with that. When you have a secure job is a big deal. It nearly lulled me into sleeping. I would say something about this. Every day I stayed in the NSO then that became DSS. Every time I stayed there was joy for me. I loved it. It was, I mentioned to you that there's no department, Nigerian department, government department, and I'm proud of as I am of the DSS, even though a lot of mess is inside there right now. But I'm still proud of their level. They are still way ahead of us. So we made a decision while we were in Calabar that we got to retire. Then I got to transfer to a high-profile desk in Abuja. It is still the same appointment that I had in Calabar, principal staff officer. The same thing. But because it's in the FCT, it's so high profile. And I was meeting people who throws in Obasanjo's name. When they are talking to me, they drop Obasanjo's name. I don't know if you get it. They drop Obasanjo's name. Obasanjo was president that time. So they would drop his name. And those who drop names are, to me, they are the weakest people on earth. And then these big guys, when they're in my presence, and I'm smaller than them physically, sometimes they have more money than me. I'm just a civil servant, of course. Has only one car, no, not 2 cars in those days. And these guys with their flashiness, they will come when they stand before me because of the personality presence that I bring, which comes from studying and learning and knowing a lot of stuff. When they stand before me, they shake. They start throwing names. I had a young man, he was like 36 years of age that time or so. He's a Lebanese. So he came to do business with me in my desk, and I was doing his background investigation. So he came and I set the standards of what I do for him. He said, no, I need this fast. If it is mobilization, I shut him down. He has never been shut down by a Nigerian before because, they come to Nigeria, they become more superior than us. I shut him down. I told him to stand up from my seat and start leaving. That's what I told him. And he couldn't believe that anybody can tell him that. When he gathered himself, he started pleading. He said, then the next thing that came out of his mouth, he said, Mr. Meribe, you need to know that I'm close to President Obasanjo. I play golf with him. I play golf with NSA. And NSA is in charge of the DSS. I say, you started again. Now, why I brought that story is because in Calabar, our decision was that we're gonna leave. I went to university for that. As soon as I graduated, I was transferred to Abuja. The job in Abuja, I mean, the profile level was heaven. My wife and I, we got invited to high profile places, even our children. The people will invite us. So it looked like we stopped thinking we need to leave, actually. So that's what secure job does for you. Okay. But don't leave the secure job in a hurry. If you want to leave it the way I did, which is you can retire from it. Give it 10 years. If you are new on it, give it 10 years. Because you need to get a block of experience you can use to posture in the next place you're going. So strive with it for 10 years, but along that, this thing, because it doesn't give you all the joy you need, create your joy by yourself. Create your joy. I started in the DSS to start giving trainings until they called me and say, hey, no. Those who work here don't talk to the public. I said, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Because I know that speaking and talking and teaching, doing what we are doing here today is the life I want. Whether it's producing money at that time or not, but that's what I wanted. And people will pay for me to either fly down or drive down to their place, or they send a vehicle, they bring me down and I train or teach or inspire their staff or their family or their associations. That's what I was doing apart from the job. So I can feel you when you say secure. Yeah. Find something by the side you can do that will give you the joy you need. So if it is secure, let's hopefully it's producing reasonable money to carry the weight of the next thing, the new things you'll be doing, and you'll be okay. And if you will need additional this thing, you can shoot me an email and say about any area of it that you need more explanation on, or even any other additional questions. Thank you.
Mr. Bryce still here? Good. Thank you for responding. Now, okay, I think that's all in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, someone is asking, what is your email?
Okay. All right, I'm putting the email in the chat box now.
Yeah, please do.
This is the easiest one.
Blossom is asking.
The easiest one is in the chat box now, fmeribe@gmail.com. We also have Francis Meribe at theafricantown.org. All right, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so I've also shared the link for those who want to get the book. You can pay using that link with your card, any debit card, MasterCard you have, and you can pay in any currency, just 1,000 Naira. It's worth learning and practicing all that you find in it. Personally, I want to retire early as well, healthy and wealthy, so I'll get a copy for myself. All right, we appreciate everybody who has made time to be in this in-gathering today. The meeting is recorded. We'll host it on our YouTube and share the link with all of you in case you need to rewatch, and those who couldn't find time to join may also go there and see what we've seen. And then if you have friends as well whom you want them to listen to what you've heard today, you are free to also send them to our YouTube channel and share the link with them as well. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Okay, I didn't see where to pay. Let me reshare again. Okay. All right, so I just pasted the link again. Just click on it. It sends you to a payment gateway where you can pay. It's very safe and secured. Did you get it? It's a Flutterwave link. Oh, someone is saying not yet.
It's right above. You are not yet.
Yeah,
just
it's
right
just,
above that. I can see it myself.
yeah, let me see if I can send to you directly.
Okay, yeah, hey, you can send direct to the person.
Techno. Okay, can you confirm that you can see it now? We can't tell your name. It's you're using a techno device.
Techno.
Yeah. All right, did you get it now? Okay, in case you missed it, you can reach me on WhatsApp. It's my number is 081-4648-5946. WhatsApp 081-4648-5946, and I'll share the link directly with you. Okay, thank you very much. I'll end this meeting now. It's almost 9 p.m.
Oh wow, we went too far.
Yeah, it's good. Thanks a lot. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
All right, have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.